The lights were blinding, the roar of the London crowd deafening, but in the center of the storm, one man stood taller than ever before. Sean Brady wasn't just another fighter stepping into the cage that night. He was a man on a mission, a man who refused to let doubt cloud his focus. Across from him, Leon Edwards, the former champion, the hometown hero, a fighter who had spent years proving he belonged at the top. The odds, the energy, the very air inside the O2 arena crackled with tension. But Brady had no intention of letting the moment swallow him. And when the dust settled, history had been made. Not only did Brady defeat Edwards, but he did the unthinkable. He finished him. A fourth-round submission, the kind of victory that sends shockwaves through the division, the kind of performance that makes people sit up and take notice. The kind of moment that forces the UFC's decision-makers to ask themselves, what's next? Because this wasn't just another win. It wasn't just another name added to Brady's resume. This was a seismic shift in the landscape of the welterweight division. With an 18-1 record, his only loss coming against current champion Belal Muhammad, Brady wasn't just knocking on the door of a title shot, he was demanding that the UFC pay attention. But here's where things get interesting. Here's where the questions start piling up, where the mystery deepens, and where every fan watching is left wondering, what now? Brady, for all his dominance inside the cage, has never been one to force the issue when it comes to matchmaking. He's patient, willing to let the UFC brass determine his next opponent, but patience can only get you so far in a sport that waits for no one. Fighters get passed over. Opportunities slip away. And after a performance like this, the UFC has a decision to make. Do they fast-track Brady toward a rematch with Belal Muhammad? Do they pit him against another top contender to solidify his claim? Or does the UFC have something else in mind? The division is stacked. Names like Colby Covington, Kamaru Usman, and Shavkat Rakhmonov linger in the shadows, each a dangerous puzzle for any fighter looking to reach the top. But Brady has just proven that he belongs in the conversation, that he isn't just another contender climbing the ranks, he's a legitimate threat. And now, all eyes are on the UFC's next move. Because if there's one thing that's clear, it's that Sean Brady isn't just fighting for wins anymore. He's fighting for legacy. And that, my friends, is what makes this moment so crucial. This isn't just about who's next. It's about how far Sean Brady can go. It's about whether he's already championship material or if he still has one more test before he can finally reach for that gold. But one thing is certain, after UFC Fight Night 255, there's no more ignoring Sean Brady. Now the real question, what does the UFC do next? If the UFC has learned anything over the years, it's that timing is everything. And right now, Sean Brady's time is either right on the horizon or slipping through the cracks, depending on what the matchmakers decide. Fans are on the edge of their seats, fighters in the division are glancing over their shoulders, and one thing is clear, Brady has forced the UFC to make a move. But what's the right move? What fight elevates him to the next level while keeping the division's chaos intact? Because let's be honest, there's always chaos. The welterweight division is stacked with killers, each fighter waiting for that call, for that one opportunity to shift their destiny. And Brady? He's in a unique position. He just finished a former champion. He did what no one else had ever done to Leon Edwards. That alone should be enough to catapult him into the title conversation. But in the UFC, things don't always work that way. Merit doesn't always dictate matchmaking. Sometimes it's about timing. Sometimes it's about narrative. And sometimes it's about being undeniable. That's where Brady finds himself now. He's close, so close he can taste it. But does the UFC give him a direct shot at redemption against Bilal Muhammad? Does the company look at his dominant performance and say, "We've seen enough, he's next in line"? Or do they throw one more hurdle in front of him? Maybe a fight against Colby Covington, a man who, despite his losses, remains one of the biggest names in the division? A win over Covington, a statement performance against a guy who's fought for the title multiple times, would remove any doubt. It would make it impossible to deny Brady a title shot. But Covington isn't the only option. There's Shavkat Rakhmonov, the undefeated wrecking machine, the guy no one in the division seems eager to fight. A fight between Brady and Rakhmonov? That's a war waiting to happen. That's two relentless grapplers, two pressure-heavy monsters colliding in a battle that would answer every lingering question about Brady's potential. But is that the fight the UFC wants? Is that the risk Brady wants to take when he's already so close to the title? Then there's the wild card, the unexpected twist that always seems to shake things up. Kamaru Usman, the former champion, the man who ruled the division for years. He's still in the mix. He still has the name value, the legacy, and the experience to make any fight against him feel like a title fight. A win over Usman? That's a career-defining moment. That's the kind of fight that not only earns Brady a title shot, but also makes him a superstar. But here's the truth. No matter which path the UFC chooses, one thing is certain. Sean Brady has arrived. He's no longer just a name in the rankings, no longer just another prospect with potential. He's a legitimate force, a man who has proven he belongs among the elite. And the UFC? They have a decision to make. Because if they don't act now, if they don't capitalize on this moment, someone else will. Someone else will step into the spotlight. Someone else will steal the momentum. And in this sport, momentum is everything. So the question remains, what's next for Sean Brady? The fans are watching. The fighters are waiting. And the UFC? They hold the key to his future. But one thing is certain, the moment they make their move, the landscape of the welterweight division will never be the same again.